Okay. So, firstly, welcome, Professor Babalola. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation to share your journey as a scientist with early career microbial ecologists globally. We really appreciate your contribution. Yeah.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you. So, Prof, I had a brief look at your CV, and it's quite an impressive CV. So for the people who don't know Professor Olubukola Babalola, she is currently the director and professor at Northwest University in South Africa. She's the director of Food Security and Safety Division. But she's a professor in microbiology with a focus really on soil, plant, and microbe interactions, but also on microbial biotechnology. And today we are just going to allow her to share her journey and how she managed, and I have to say here, Prof, in a, I'll say a short space of time, managed to really establish such an admirable, thriving career in science on this continent. And I have to emphasize on this continent because we have unique challenges that we deal with on the African continent compared to other continents. So I see that you did your graduate studies and your PhD in Nigeria, which is your country of origin. And then you spent some time doing a postdoctoral fellowship at the Weizmann Institute in Israel, and then also a postdoc in South Africa at the University of the Western Cape. Following which, then you joined Northwest University, and you have since been there. So just share with us a bit how did you decide after your 2 stints of postdoctoral fellowship, how did you decide to make the shift from being a postdoctoral fellow to now taking a full-time academic job and engaging or embarking on your own research journey?
Yeah, thank you very much for the audience given to me. It all started studying, doing the master's and the PhD. And when I was doing my PhD, I happened to get the funding from the Organization for Women in Science for the Developing World, which today, by the grace of God, I'm the vice president for the region Africa. This organization funded me, and through the organization, I was able to do part of my research at the International Center of Insect Physiology and Ecology in Kenya. Prior to that, I was doing my PhD at the International Institute for Tropical Agriculture, IIT, in Ibadan. So now, marrying the 2 exposures together, my stay at one international institute, that's International Institute for Tropical Agriculture, and now going to another international institute, which is the International Center for Insect Physiology and Ecology. And the exposure I had really helped me. That exposure brought me hope because I found myself in the midst of international scientists. The exposure was like the wow moment for my life. And while also there at Kenya, I was not only doing my work at ISME, I was also doing field work at the Kenya Sugar Research Foundation and the Kenya Agricultural Research Institute. So have gotten the opportunity to mingle with many scientists, which today I'm still in contact with and collaborating, co-supervising and graduating PhD students with. So those exposures that I had, when I got the opportunity to be an academic staff, my aspiration was to carry on with that strength and the might and the exposure that I've been given in research, because it's like they handed over the baton to me and they gave me the platform to run. It's like I had everything to do it. And then that really helped me to forge ahead. But I am not unmindful of the fact that I'm in Africa. And when I started working, I didn't have a number of things that I got the opportunity, having when I was a postdoc or when I was doing my PhD at the international centers. Because when I started, I didn't have even the gel documentation. So if you do your PCR, I have to now keep the gel, go to another place to go and scan the picture. You can imagine. So I started with very basic research. And also I started with honors students. I didn't have postgraduates like masters and PhD. So I've learned to rewrite what they have done in a way that will make it better off, acceptable, like writing for publication. And that was the beginning.
So, you mentioned a few challenges here that one can encounter when starting their own research team. So how many students, when you started, you mentioned you started with honor students and so on. How many did you start with? How did you recruit? I imagine that you were still a young person then. Were there challenges in attracting students to your research group without all these resources?
Yeah, thank you. Automatically, when you finish the BSc, which is a 3-year program in South Africa, a number of students will wait to do the honors. Some will exit at the BSc level. Those ones that waited to do their honors definitely need someone to take them up. And that was the beginning. So I took 4 students as my honors, and those are the ones I started with. And fortunately for me also, I say fortunately because these students worked with me from honors to masters to PhD.
Okay.
So that is a big thing for me. And because of that continuity, it helped me a lot. When a new person joins the lab, it is not all new, because I have other people that have been with me and they know the rudiments. They know how we scale through all the hurdles. So it has been like that. I didn't have a master's student at first, except the honor students that graduated to masters. And later on, I started having other students that came in for masters and PhD as well.
Okay. So you look now at how your research lab is running and your whole group is running. I imagine that it's now almost like a well-oiled machine. So what did you learn later, and things that you wish you knew, when you started your group? Are there things that you wish somebody would have, warned you about, given you the heads up?
I must also mention that when I was doing my postdoc, those 2 places, I work with very senior professors, and they have been giving me head starts. For example, when I was at the University of the Western Cape, my scientific host happens to be an A-rated researcher, NRF-rated researcher. And we mentioned it that you cannot go to certain journals. You cannot. So I got that very good start. But
Yeah.
the other thing I would have wished that I knew much earlier would have been how to write grant proposal.
Okay.
If I've known how to write that very well, it would have helped me, because if I could write award-winning proposal, I could bring students from my own research grants.
Yeah.
I won't lean solely on my department in the university to do everything for me.
Yeah.
So writing award-winning grant proposal is something I wish I had known how to do better and even earlier.
So given your experience now with all these challenges, what would be your most important advice to someone who's currently doing their postdoc, but they, like it's a postdoc that you're hosting, and now they're making plans for their own career, so they will soon leave your lab to go start their own groups. So what advice would you give them?
I'm fortunate to have had a postdoc even few years ago, and I do mention to them that proper planning prevents poor performance. Proper planning prevents poor performance, because part of proper planning is to sit and say, I will like to have 4 students at a start, but how do I fund them?
Yeah.
It's part of the planning. Now, even if I see those that want to come with their own funding, how do I sustain the research? It's still about proper planning. So my best advice, the topmost, will be to tell this individual that proper planning prevents poor performance, and such should, do proper planning. There is no shortcut to it. Even the aspect of having collaborators and all those is about planning also. It doesn't happen just like that.
Yes. Okay, so what is your research about? I gave a bit of intro to say that your focus is on soil-plant microbe interactions and also on microbial biotechnology. But what are the specific topics that are now the main topics in your research group?
When I started doing research, my focus was on plant health management. I started with using, because I, as a microbiologist, got the opportunity to work at the International Institute for Tropical Agriculture. I have to do their mandates. I have to use their mandate crop, and because the institution is an established institution, so for me to penetrate, I have to follow their mandate. And now, coming from a microbiology background, I decided to use microbes to alleviate the problem of plants, like alleviating the problem of Striga emotica, a parasitic weed on maize and things like that. Now, I started with plant health management, but there was this time I got the opportunity to attend conferences. And there was a conference that I attended. And one of the scientists told me that, do I know that if I could implement genomics, if I could implement maybe what we call molecular biology into my work, that my work will have more relevance. And that was the turning point, because then, instead of staying merely on plant health management as it were in the traditional way, I now opened it up to including genomics. And now I also had to streamline what I'm doing. So I concentrate only on rhizosphere biology, the rhizosphere. That's the rhizosphere is the area around the roots of a plant. So that is my area of concentration.
Mm. And so how accessible, if I can put it that way, how accessible are funding resources for this area of research? And how accessible are collaborators for this area of research?
Yeah, this area of research is not stagnant.
Mm.
And you cannot operate there alone.
Yeah.
Because you will find out that the technology is moving by the day. You know, when I was still thinking about something, you'll find out that no, inventors even overtaking that.
Yeah.
So it's accessible to collaboration if you want to survive. If you really want to survive in the field, or you just fizzle out.
Mm.
So you'll find out that when you read people's publication, you can see that, oh, this is the way they are doing it.
Mm.
Then you may want to get to talk to that person, to guide, to give a helping hand. And that is how the collaboration begins.
Yeah.
Otherwise, one cannot do it alone. So
yeah. So now you are a leader, not just in research and not just as an academic, but also in terms of governance structures and managerial role as a director. What would you say you love about your job? Because now it's all these different hats that you wear. So what would you say you love about your job?
you know, the one that is most interesting to me is that of the position of the vice president for women in science. And each time I have the opportunity to stand, to speak, to address, or to convene a meeting,
yes,
I know the people I want to talk to. These are timber and caliber. These are PhD holders. These are scientists, professors. So I feel I have a very broad platform to operate. And that propelled me even to go and do my MBA, because I see that these people I have the opportunity to lead, they are not just anybody.
Yes.
These are thinkers, I'm telling you, scientists, thinkers. These are the cream of the society. So I remember when I wanted to do the MBA, I mean, I had to write why I want to do the MBA, my motivation, what I want to do with it, this and that.
Yes.
And I have no regrets till today. So that brings in the aspect of governance, the aspect of leadership. And for my MBA, my thesis, which I just got one paper accepted also, was on leadership of women in science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and innovation.
Wow.
So whatever I was, I had to build on it, because I saw the platform in which I am operating is very broad, and it is not for non-entities.
So now I think you probably learned quite a lot putting together your thesis for your MBA. So now if you could change one thing about science or academia, what would it be?
Thank you. There are many things in my heart that I wish I could change. But number one on the list will be to take a girl child to work, to take a girl child along with you. And why am I specific about a girl child? I am a girl child. I'm speaking from experience. I happened to go to girls' primary school, girls only. In my secondary school, it was girls only. And I know that mentality that is like, maybe these people are second rated. These people are maybe like, you are a girl child. It's like you marry and you just throw that name of the parents away. It's like, you are not worthy of so much investment. We should just, just manage you till you move out.
Yeah.
But I've come to discover that the girl child that is allowed to grow, to spring up, is never a girl child, is a nation.
Yes.
Because this girl child will pour herself on the children, on the neighbors, and much more.
Yeah.
So I'm a true type to that. And if I had the opportunity to change one thing, it will be investment in a girl child in the area of science.
Yeah. Wow. That, I really, I hope we get to realize that dream. I'll be first in line to take the opportunity to take a girl child, to work. I really would be.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I imagine that your days and your weeks are quite long. So how do you unwind from work?
Thank you. The work of a scientist is never finished, but one must have to create science. Otherwise, the body will collapse and no one to do the science.
Yeah.
So I like to stay alone in the evening. I reflect, meditate on, I have daily devotion, meditate on the word of God, and deep in thought in that meditation, I'm always refreshed. Each day, I'm always refreshed.
Yeah.
Because it's like there is a fresh package for each day in devotion. And it keeps me going. So that meditation, the regurgitation, the thinking, the reflection helps me a lot. Aside from the exercises I do, the exercise is not regular because my exercise partner is a nurse by profession. So depending on whether she is on duty or she's not on duty, that one is zigzag. But the other one is a daily routine and it helps me a lot.
Yeah. Okay. And what, do you listen to any music for your exercising or just when you're relaxing? And what type of music?
I'm going to make you laugh now because all the music that I know are gospel. So that is about my life. That is about my life.
Yes. But there's wonderful gospel music,
Yeah.
Yes.
So I play those ones. You cannot finish playing them because nowadays, once they are online, and the funniest thing, because of the subscription I've made, my machine will even remind me these ones. So once you click it, it starts.
Yes, yes. Oh, wow. Well, thank you so much. I have to say, I think we need more time, more discussion, because I think there's a lot to tap into and to learn from you. I think we should organize a roundtable discussion with young women, early career scientists, because I think there's a lot to learn from you. And I really appreciate that you took the time to just share a little bit. I'm going to qualify this. I think it's just a little bit. There's a deep well of knowledge there. We need to tap into it. But thank you so much for sharing your journey with us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for the invitation. It's been a pleasure chatting with you.
Yeah. Thank you. I think this is the end of our journey today, really for today, and then we'll do another round. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ibodia. I appreciate this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.